Hello everybody. Thank you for being here, and I wanted to do a video this morning. It's Tuesday, May 5th. I wanted to do a video on a message I received from the Galactic Federation of Light. So this morning I was sitting with them, and I was on their ship, and they showed me this window, of course, that I look out and I see the earth, and they said, it's very calm right now on the earth plane. It's very calm. And I could feel the energy of the earth was very calm. And I was like, oh wow, there wasn't like a huge amount of light being penetrated down onto the earth. There wasn't a lot of shadow, darker consciousnesses kind of swirling around like I had seen before. It was calm, like a storm had just gone by and now the waters are calm, that kind of feeling. And I said, well, it doesn't look calm out there. It doesn't feel calm to us. And they said, there has been a foundation that has been laid on the earth plane, a new foundation. And as I sat with this, I realized that what they were talking about was this 5D consciousness that we, as the way showers, have been integrating into our bodies, has been settling literally onto the earth plane to create this foundation for the earth and all of humanity to start to stand on. And so this first massive purging that we just went through, which we would call the coronavirus, COVID-19, it was the very first massive collective physical shift in consciousness for the collective of humanity. There will be more. And this first shift, as in all the other shifts that are going to come, are designed for the sole purpose of shifting the entire collective of humanity's consciousness into higher frequencies. And we, as the way showers, hold it first in our bodies. We feel 5D consciousness first in order to anchor it down onto the earth, in order to pull the collective into these higher frequencies. So the more of the humans that are holding the 5D consciousness, the more other humans are going to be able to tap into it. And so what we have done these past couple of months is we have laid a foundation of 5D consciousness on the earth plane. That's what they were talking about. There's a foundation now. And this foundation requires us to see that it is there. So you're not going to walk, when we are let out, which some of us are already starting to step out, both physically and figuratively, step out of our homes. We have to recognize that even though we are seeing density playing out, programs playing out, that is part of the physical shift. We have anchored a 5D consciousness onto the earth plane. It's there. The foundation is set. And our role is to recognize not only all the work we have done, but that you are holding 5D consciousness in your body right now. And the last 2 months, you've done a crap ton of inner work, whether you realize this or not, to be able to hold and anchor this consciousness into your body, so that this foundation can be set. You've done a lot of internal work. You've listened to your belief systems. You've felt a lot of emotions that you didn't feel comfortable feeling. You went inward over and over and over again. You got more silent than you ever have. You probably spent more time really feeling nature in a way that you never have before. You may have been opening up into the galactic realms, the quantum fields, your guides in ways that you never have before. You may have just been going so deep inside your own shadow in order to clear it to hold this consciousness. Whatever you have been experiencing, it is perfect and divine, because I can tell you and I promise you that you are holding much more of a 5D consciousness in your body, because they showed it to me. They showed me what we have done. So when we talk about the new earth, right? What's the new earth going to look like? It's here right now. The new earth, which is a 5D consciousness earth. For those of you that are not aware of what this term means in the spiritual community, what a new earth look means actually is an earth that is holding 5D consciousness. It's vibrating in 5D consciousness. It's holding itself in a 5D field, a fifth dimensional field, and it's experiencing itself in 5D. And I have said this over and over and over again. It is not a physical shift from 3D to 5D. It is a slow progression where it just starts to shift, like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, right? It's a metamorphosis. So we start to see this shift very slowly in our physical reality, right? We don't just see a 5D earth and jump into it and like, boom, we're in this beautiful new place. It's a slow progression, and we are now in it. We have now anchored down a foundational platform that we are going to be standing on, that we are standing on, that is based in 5D consciousness right now, even though you are seeing 3D consciousness play out. This is how the physical ascension works. We've got to wrap our heads around this. It's not a black and white. That's very linear. Like, I'm in 3D and then I'm going to jump into a completely new earth that's going to be all 5D, and I'm never going to be experiencing 3D. We got to let that go, because it is a slow transition physically, just like any transition in our body physically, right? The hair, the weight, losing weight, gaining weight, right? You don't lose 20 pounds overnight in one day. Your hair doesn't grow from short to long in one day. We don't jump from 3D to 5D overnight. This is a very slow progression and transition. And we have done a massive amount of work. So here was the other message. This foundation is set. 5D consciousness is grounded into the earth right now. And you are grounded into 5D consciousness right now. And we still experience 3D consciousness. 4D consciousness is this bridge, this sort of teaching ground, okay? So we're always in between and in that 4D, right? But we are being 5D consciousness more and more and more. And we are accessing and still participating in 3D consciousness. So when we start to step out into this new foundation that we have set because of this massive collective purge, both externally and internally, what lens are you using to experience your new now? What lens? Are you using the lens of the ego? It's okay if you are, but are you aware of it? The ego lens is going to tell you that things are good and bad, that they are right or wrong, that there is dark and light, that there is evil and not evil, right? That there are polarities. That's 3D. So the ego is going to tell you that. The ego is going to show you that right now, right? And so it's going to show you, oh my God, what side are you going to pick? Oh my God, people are doing really horrible things to you guys. It's a victim mentality, the ego, right? Protect yourself, prepare yourself. You're in trouble. You better watch out, right? There's no sovereignty with the ego. The ego doesn't hold sovereignty, right? The ego is always trying to protect you as if something's going to come and harm you. And there's always a good, bad, right, wrong. There's always sides. So there's nothing wrong with the ego. But we want to be aware of, am I using the ego as my lens? Okay. Second lens you're going to use is the higher self, which is the lens you want to start to step into more and more, which is the lens that says, I'm a sovereign being. I create my reality and I choose. I'm a higher consciousness in physical form. I am safe, right? There are no victims in my reality and in my world. All of this is playing out for the highest good of the collective and the earth plane. All of it is playing out so that the collective can shift. This is ascension. The entire purpose of us being here is to go through a physical ascension. That's why Earth designed her experiment, which I'm going to do my next video on, is the experiment that Earth created, the huge mass experiment. This is all designed by Earth herself to create this experience so that we can shift physically through consciousnesses. And there's all these complicated ways in which we've experienced this. But this is what it is all about, and this is what we're feeling. So when you look out and you step out and you go to CVS and your grocery stores and your hospitals and your doctor visits and wherever else, right? And you're seeing all of this start to play out the way it's going to play out, a brand new way of being. It's going to feel very dense. It's going to feel very third dimensional. And what they want you to remember is that there is a fifth dimensional platform or foundation that has been set that you have access to now. And so can you start to see it through that lens, the higher self lens? There's a 5D foundation that is now accessible in every now. And we did the work. You did the work to create it. So when I step outside now and I use the lens of my higher self, I'm seeing everything as a neutral perspective. It all just is playing out. I can have human emotions around it, and I will. I can have judgments around it, and I will. But then can I move myself back into the lens of the higher self? This is all designed to play out the way it's playing out. This is how consciousness shifts. It doesn't shift through love, even though it is shifting through love. It's going to shift through watching the density first. You're going to watch the craziness first. You're going to watch the shadow come up first. You're going to watch the chaos first. And then you're going to find yourself falling deeper and deeper into love, into acceptance, into surrender. And the only way to do that is to go in. You're never going to find it externally, which you've been learning in the last couple of months. What have you been learning these last few months about yourself, about consciousness, about energy? What have you been learning, right? Think about it. What have you been shown? What belief systems have you been letting go of? What emotions have you been letting go of? What programs have you been letting go of? What behaviors have you been letting go of? How deep are you going in? How often are you now in you, in your body, in your feelings, in your emotions, in your physicality, right? That's what you want to start to remember as you step out. It's very calm, they showed me, and all is well. It really is, except that when we walk out there and we see all the masks and all the programs and all the beliefs and all the behaviors and all the paradigms, it seems chaotic still, because that's the 3D consciousness. And remember, 3D consciousness is much easier to see than 5D consciousness. That's why you have to be it first. You can't let go of the big picture. You guys have done so much amazing work these last 2 months. It's been insane and intense. And we've done such miraculous work. I wish you could see what they showed me. This new foundation, I want you to visualize it like a foundation that has been poured, right, over the earth. And we're standing in it now. And we have access to this 5D consciousness in a way we never have before. And guess what? The more humans that hold that 5D consciousness and use the lens of the higher self, the more humans are going to wake up. They also showed me that hundreds of thousands of humans woke up this first massive purge. Hundreds of thousands of way showers, light workers, and star seeds. They woke up. Why? Because you were holding the 5D consciousness. You were committed to doing the work. You were committed to remembering, to staying awake, to going deep, to feeling whatever you felt, to continue to shift, to continue to be the observer. And what's going to happen the next massive purge? Even more humans are going to wake up. And when humans wake up, they start to observe who they actually are as light beings, as light consciousness. They start to see things for what they are, and they start to hold 5D consciousness. And the more humans that are holding 5D consciousness on the earth plane, the easier it will be to move the collective into that complete and whole 5D consciousness that we are all moving into. So the more humans that hold it, the more that 5D consciousness expands, the more humans can feel that 5D consciousness and have the ability to choose to be in that 5D consciousness, to experience the 5D consciousness, which means that they hold it inside themselves. They start to open to it, activate to it, right? This is how ascension happens. It's how it works. And because we're the way showers, like I've said in so many other videos, we're going first. And so it's like we're looking around like, is this happening? Is this working? Are we doing anything? Is this at all working? Because what I see externally doesn't look like it's working. And I can tell you it's mother freaking working. Okay? All the work you have done, all the shadow, all the pain, all the sadness, all the depression, all the tears, all the anger, all the anxiety, everything you have felt has not been for nothing. It has been for us to hold the 5D consciousness, which you're holding, whether you believe it or not, so that we can lay this foundation down, which has been laid. It's an energetic foundation that says, I am 5D consciousness all over the earth plane. It's miraculous. And there is a calm. There's a calm. We've gone through the tornado and now it's settled. Even though when you step out, both physically from your home and figuratively, it's not going to look that way. Your job is to hold that knowingness that it has. The foundation has been set. Please hold that knowingness, okay? And you've done all the work to hold it. And we're going to continue to do the work because there's going to be more purges that are going to come. More collective purging. And we're going to have to hold this frequency. We've learned so much these last 2 months. Think about what you've learned about yourself. Think about what you've learned about 5D consciousness. And the new earth is right now, right here in us and on her. It's here. There's nowhere to go. It's right here, right now. And it's all about remembering and being the observer. And what lens are you using in every single now when you're looking out? Because you always have a choice. The third lens I want to just talk about really quickly is this higher consciousness lens, this lens that you are, right? Of the version of you that jumped into and incarnated into physical form, the aspect of you that chose to be here, that is in the physical form right now. I call it higher consciousness. You can call it source, you can call it soul, spirit, whatever you want to call it, okay? But it's the aspect of you that agreed and came from some other consciousness to drop into physical form. You can use that lens now as well. What would that lens look like? It would know that everything is perfect, that there really isn't anything for you to do other than be who you are inside. This lens allows you to love and accept all for what it is, energy and frequency and consciousness experiencing itself. That higher consciousness lens lets you look out and say, oh, this is all an experiment in order for consciousness, collective consciousness to shift. The human collective consciousness to physically shift. Oh, I see. That higher consciousness lens is going to say to you, all that you're seeing that is giving you those emotions of anger or rage or frustration or anxiety, that's the denser consciousnesses that are purging and clearing. And I'm going to see them because they're easier to see and feel. It doesn't mean the foundation isn't laid, my friend, right? It's higher consciousness. That's the higher consciousness lens. The higher consciousness lens is not going to invite you to pick sides. You won't have any desire to pick sides. All sides are sides. All sides are truths. All truth is truth. All paradigms are real. Everything is true. Everything is real. And when you start to recognize that, it doesn't make any sense to pick any certain side. It just is. It's all playing out perfectly as the entire game is designed to. Now we're very physical, right? And so we're going to feel a lot of physical emotions, right? Physical consciousness, dense consciousness, fears, anxieties, worries, stress, lack, those types of things, right? We're going to still feel those perhaps. You still feel those even if you're in a 5D consciousness, okay? It's okay to feel those things, but you're not attaching anymore, remember? You're not those things. Look at your experiences through the lens of the higher self or the higher consciousness. You are not those things that you are experiencing, remember? You're not. And so there's no fear or worry about feeling them because you know that you're not them. So who cares what you feel? Okay, I'm feeling fear, so what? It's going to pass. I'm feeling anxiety, so what? It's going to pass, right? So what? It just is. It's me, higher consciousness in physicality, in human form, navigating this massively miraculous, courageous, collective shift in consciousness, both individually and collectively. You've done a great job. So the message here is thank you. Thank you for leading the way, even if you don't believe you have. You have. Thank you for feeling every single freaking thing you've been feeling the last couple of months. Thank you for courageously continuing to step forward and hold the higher perspective, even though it's been really hard at times. Thank you for learning how to have even more compassion for yourself and others. Thank you for starting to step into neutrality and remembering that there is no right or wrong. Thank you. Thank you for remembering that you have to move into your body more and more and love the hell out of your body and honor your body, cherish your body. Thank you for allowing yourself to just be you, and to learn how to move into a state of flow while you're just being you. And honoring your human journey. And more than anything, thank you for incarnating to be the way. Thank you for incarnating and waking up. Thank you. Because it's not an easy choice necessarily to say, I'm going to come down at this now moment in Earth's history to collectively shift a large consciousness physically. And that's what you're doing. And we've done a tremendous job. Tremendous job. So from the Galactic Federation of Light, from all of your guides, from you yourself, okay, this is a message that is coming from all those aspects. We've done an amazing freaking job the last couple of months. There is a foundation of 5D consciousness laid out right now on the earth plane. What lens are you going to use when you step back out? Or as you already are stepping back out? Thank you. I love you. You are so loved. And if this message resonates with you and you want to send it to other people, please send this message out. Remind the way showers, the light workers, the star seeds, whatever name you want to give them. Remind them of what's happening now, that what we have done. And to try not to get stuck in these 3D shadows that are clearing. Right? We want to see it and acknowledge it, but why dive deep into it? Why not stand on that foundation of 5D consciousness and see it as the entire picture just being? That's it. Right? Wow, that's intense. Wow, that's beautiful. Wow, that's heavy. Wow, that's awesome, right? Just see it all. See it all. I love you.